Main 6 points. Geography of Canada, Industrial Revolution CPR, Fur Trade and Imperialism, Canadian Confederation, American Revolution, History of BC Geography. Of Canada, the beaver was a scarce resource. Most Europeans wanted them. Being very prominent in Canada, this led to cause people to migrate over to Canada and build forts. The fur trade caused a spike in new routes, forts and towns to be made. Essentially, the beaver laid down the groundwork for Canada. Industrial Revolution CPR. The beaver pelt was so valuable in that time that it became almost like a currency. Since Canada had so many of them, Canadian and Native Americans were very popular trading partners during the Industrial Revolution. The beaver pelt trading gave off so much money from being sold that making the CPR would just mean more pelts for them while Canada became increasingly more wealthy. Fur trade and European imperialism. The fur trade is self-explanatory. The beaver pelt was the main point in it all. The Europeans infiltrated the interior of the Ni territory around 1634. The contact the Europeans had with the Nas had a damaging after effect to their population and their resources. During this time, the fur trade was present. Canadian Confederation. The colony was dictated primarily to the fur trade, and it depended on the assistance of the Algonquian and Huron. The routes extend to native territories. Beavers were carried 100 kilometers through these trails. The CC was in 1867. The fur trade on this time was quickly coming to a close. The CC kept it alive for a while longer due to the small spike of people pouring into the newly founded country. American Revolution. The fur trade in the region was booming, giving the British added to incentive to cooperate with the NA. To facilitate this, the British supplied the Nas with arms and supplies. These small provisions were exaggerated in turn by indignant and worried Americans. History of BC. Canada was built off of the fur trade, which supplied Europeans' demands for pelts and animals to make hats. In short and basic form, it laid groundwork for bigger and better opportunities for the current generations of Canadians and those past. Without the fur trade's events, Canada would not be what it is today. Sources listed from A to Z. Timeline of work habit. Timeline of fur trade and quick video on the beaver pelt.
Did you know that this is our currency out here? And it's very valuable. It's being made into these very expensive hats in places like London. And a hat like this would cost about £50. Most people, if they were lucky enough to even have a job in places like London or the Orkney Islands, first of all, it wouldn't be the best job. It would be probably a factory or on the docks, and they might be making £10 a year, and then have to pay taxes and pay for food. So that's 5 years worth of pay. But if you were a prince, you would probably have not one, but an entire collection of these hats.
Finished.